Hiya, Martin here, and thank you for joining me for Turner's Journey episode 69. I hope you're all well and you have had superb creative weeks and weekends in your workshops. Big thank you to everybody for your comments and questions on last week's Turner's Journey. I hope I managed to get through as many questions as possible and you are happy with the answers. I've got another little Q&A session lined up for today, which I hope you'll find interesting too. Let's start at the beginning of the week. It took me ages to get this project done, the Marley Burr piece, and the response to the video has been fabulous. So if you have seen it and commented, thank you very much. I'm virtually done replying to comments and stuff now. So if you have left a comment, then and I haven't got back to you, then I will do very shortly. But there's the piece. I am really pleased with how it's turned out. So there was a comment by Gil Grace. Hi Gil, who asked to see some sort of further experimentation with it. Now, I've had a project in mind for months and months now about doing something like that, but extra special. So the video in a couple of weeks' time is going to be on this piece of Wych Elm Burr, following a similar process, but there's going to be something incredibly special going in the centre. And I'll leave it there because I want it to be a surprise. If I can pull it off, which I'm pretty sure I can, I've played with it a bit, it will be monumental, and I think it will look amazing, but we'll see. This week in the workshop has been not exactly hugely productive as far as turning goes, other than that piece and a couple of others, but I've been experimenting and packing up and making loads and loads of Hampshire sheen. I've come up with another new Hampshire sheen product, again something that's never been seen before, but again based on obviously existing waxes. So this one is in a trial period at the moment, and I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is, but that's what it looks like. Shh, don't tell anybody. Yesterday, which was Thursday, again this is something I've been thinking about for ages, and I can't remember if I've alluded to it or not, but I've been fiddling around with colour, and I've come up with my own palette of colours, and these are kind of the colours that I like to get on my turning. So I've done a little bit of mixing and a little bit of playing, so I'm going to have a fiddle with those a little bit later on today. On a bowl, and I think that might be next week's project video. We'll go back to colour and we'll stay away from the reactive paints for a couple of weeks. And also, I can't remember if I mentioned it last week. I don't think I did. No, I couldn't have done because I didn't do it until Saturday. This is the Ruth Niles joiner jig, and you use it for off-centre pieces. And I'm just seeing if I've got one of the bits I was playing with. Yeah, there we go. I was just having a little mess around with it, and we can do things like that with it. It's not a very good one. That is just a practice thing on a piece of ash. So you'll be seeing this in a video or two in the not too distant future, hopefully. So that's good, and that's kind of it for the workshop this week, other than I'm still designing and figuring out the stationery, the business cards and the little flyers and stuff that go out with orders, that kind of thing. So I'm working on those as well. But let's move swiftly on to the Q&A section. Rod Jewell says, what is your eBay connection that you are able to purchase round blanks? I am in need of several. Well, Rod, good question. Thank you very much. I buy from lots of different people on eBay. I also have a private supplier or two as well. But on eBay, I'm guessing you're in the UK, but if you are in the UK, then I would definitely have a look. If you're a beginner, I would have a look at a company called the Sherwin Group, and they do big bags of stuff, mixed blanks, all sorts of different shapes, sizes, and species, and you can get 25. Hang on, I've got to get this right. I normally buy by the 50 kilograms. 50 kilograms delivered is about £70, and you get a massive amount of different size shapes, blanks, spindles, bowls, goblets, candlesticks, that kind of thing. Really good for cutting your teeth on and turning reasonable bowls for sale. That kind of thing. I also buy from SCS Woodwork as well. I think that's what his name is, Stephen. SCS Woodwork, I think. I'll put a link in the description to their eBay pages, and also and I'm not affiliated to any of these, by the way, and if I'm looking for individual specific blanks, I will generally take a look at Michael 18,000. He's in Ireland. Most of his stuff is on auction, so you've got to really be really wanting it, but the piece you see on eBay is the piece that you get. Next question. Incubator Him says, how do you put a price on your own time? Minimum wage or something more realistic and generous? Well, to be really honest with you, Incubator Him, I don't work for minimum wage. If you work everything out, because the business is still growing and developing and stuff like that, I'm actually on less than minimum wage, purely because of money comes in through the sales of Hampshire Sheen, and then I reinvest that money back into the company in order to expand it and grow it. But as far as these pieces are concerned, the arty pieces and stuff that I turn, I work out a much more sensible wage price, and I work it out generally by the hour. Go back a couple of videos where I discuss pricing work, Turner's Journey. I discussed pricing way back at the beginning of Turner's Journey, so go and have a look at that. There's lots of different ways that you can work out your price. Some people work it out by the diameter times the height of the piece multiplied by 2. It's a minefield, frankly, and the how to price your work argument will run and run and run. But probably the most important piece of advice I could give you is don't undersell your work. Don't undersell your work, don't undersell yourself, and don't devalue wood turning. That's one of the big problems, I think, in crafting in general, and anything to do with individuals creating stuff, is that they undersell it. And if a piece is undersold, it's too cheap, it is then perceived by the public as cheap, and cheap generally means low quality. So yeah, you can see where this is going. So don't undersell yourself, don't undersell your work. If you're proud of it, put a price on it that you're proud of it. Phil Cannon says, I started turning last year and have thought about doing my own channel. Would you recommend starting your own channel on YouTube to a beginner? That's a very interesting question, Phil. Would I recommend starting your own channel on YouTube to a beginner? That's a really tricky question to answer, Phil. It depends what you want to get out of it. It depends what you want to get out of publishing your videos on YouTube. Whether or not you've got the time to film, edit and upload. Do you want to earn some money out of YouTube? Let me tell you this, putting videos on YouTube does not pay big bucks. It does not pay big bucks. It is a small income stream. that goes towards the working of the shop, paying for blanks and that kind of thing, but it doesn't cover everything. What I will say though is that filming yourself turning and watching it back is a really good way to pick up and see your technique from a different angle, because you can be stood over a piece or stood over the tool and be doing something, but if you look at it from a different angle it looks wrong. So you can use the videos that you make to hone your technique, and that could potentially be a good way of getting advice on your technique by putting videos up onto YouTube for critique and make sure that people know that you're a beginner. But yeah, really difficult question to answer, Phil. Very, very difficult. So thank you very much for that, Phil. Chris Connell says, I have the following question. If it's not a trade secret, when an item of yours is purchased online, how do you go about postal presentation, packaging, etc.? Is it put in a presentation box or just shoved in a jiffy bag? I ask as I intend to sell my work and believe this part of this sale to be very important. Right, Chris, that is a very, very good question. And good presentation costs money. So if you have a piece like this, for example, or maybe even this piece, then you're going to want the presentation to be as good as possible. Good boxes cost money. Recycled boxes essentially are free. Then you've got the bubble wrap and stuff. So it all comes under, if you're charging a lot of money for your piece, then your presentation needs to be appropriate. If you're charging 10 quid for a bowl, you could just wrap it up in cling film, stuff it in a box, well, not cling film, bubble wrap, stick it in a box and off it goes. If I'm selling at a trade show, for example, there isn't necessarily the space for loads of boxes, different sizes and stuff like that. So most of the time at a trade show, they're just wrapped up in bubble wrap and off you go. This is what they're interested in. My opinion is, so long as it gets to the customer neatly presented, but suitably presented and protected, then it shouldn't really matter. Because finding an individual box, in an individual sized box for that to fit in perfectly is just going to be ridiculously expensive and hike the price up even more. But if you've got something small, like, imagine that's a ring box, pens, little jewellery boxes and stuff like that, you can find suitably sized, nice presentation boxes appropriate to the piece. Right, 2 examples for you. We're going to look at pens. This is a standard cardboard pen box, and depending upon the amount you buy, they're about £1 each. So if you've got a slimline pen, for example, and you're charging a tenner for it, do you include the price of the box? So then take that off, that's then going to be 9 quid. Or do you add the price of the box on? So your £10 slimline pen that you might sell just in a pouch or something like that, all of a sudden becomes £11 because you put it in the box. Next step up, look at one of these, which is a flip-top box, and that can be wrapped up and put inside a packaging box. That can be wrapped up and put inside a packaging box. So it's not necessarily the packaging that you send your work out in, Chris, it's the presentation within that box. And I hope I'm making some sense here. I'm aware that I'm kind of rambling a little bit. So it's the presentation of the final piece. You can't box that, but you can box stuff that's a regular shape. You must remember to include the price of that in the price of the final item, and then charge postage and packing separately. I hope that helps. Michael DeLaughter says, are there wood turners out there that you look to for ideas or inspiration? Another good question, Michael. Yes, there are. I find inspiration from all over the place, be it nature, it could be a shape I see on TV in a museum, something like that. But turners in particular, I see lots of fantastic work on social media and also on YouTube, and I get inspired to do stuff. Not the same. I try not to do stuff exactly the same, because then that takes part of my creative process away. But I love the work of Douglas J. Fisher, Nick Agar, Mark Sanger, Phil Irons, and a host of others on Facebook and stuff who I see work from regularly. There is some exquisite stuff out there. But as I said, I try not to copy, or rather I don't copy stuff that other people have done. I might play with a technique that they've used and to come up with my own creation using that particular technique. And I play with my own techniques as well, because as a sort of a creative artist, then I think being inspired by other people is important, but not to outright copy. And if I find something being, if I find something, and I'm finding a technique that I'm heavily using, a particular piece that is heavily inspired by somebody, then I'll mention it. So I'll give credit where credit's due, and make something of my own up. So it's not a direct copy. It's a piece that has been inspired by something else. Really excellent questions this week. Really got me thinking, put me right on the spot. So thank you very much to Rod Jewell, Incubator Him, Phil Cannon, Chris Connell and Michael DeLaughter for your input into this edition. I forgot to mention a couple of weeks ago, I need to say a big thank you to Mike Walt, Jim Overton at Jimson Stuff, Jamie Page at JP Woodwork, and the Woodworking Shed with John Clothier. A big thank you for the stickers that you've sent me. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. I do have another video going up this week, which is part of the Make It Matter, the Make It Matter campaign that my mate Stephen Twydale has been coordinating from Ireland. That video is going to be going up on Sunday, and that's been a collaboration of makers from all over the world, creating stuff for sale in aid of children's autism charities all around the world. And I'm very pleased to be donating this piece to the charity auction that's going to be starting in February, and hoping to raise as much money as possible for autism charities all around the world. So a video about this will be going up on the channel on Sunday. So thank you very much indeed for watching. Have a great week, and have a great creative week, and I'll look forward to seeing you Sunday for the Make It Matter video, and another project video next week, where we'll be probably playing with these colours and stuff. And then Turner's Journey next Friday for a whopping episode 70. So all good. Thanks very much indeed for watching, guys. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.